How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring you along with me to do a self-portrait battle between my Sigma 35mm and my Sony 85mm. So let's jump right into it. So today I decided to come out and just kind of use both of my lenses to take some portraits here at the tennis courts by my house. Since they are empty because of the weather, I actually got to bust out my winter coat that I haven't gotten to use since I moved back to Texas for, ever since I moved here. But it is rather cold today, and this weekend's supposed to be a lot colder, so decided to bust it out to stay nice and warm while I make this video for you guys. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take basically some photos of myself, kind of do up close, full body, a little bit of kind of landscape style using the tennis courts behind me, just to kind of do a little bit of some testing just to see which one looks better. I mean, I kind of know it's going to be a little bit harder to compare because of the big different focal length, but I thought it'd be cool to do this since most people tend to go with a 35 or an 85 for portraits. Some people like the aesthetic of the 35 more than the 85. So I just wanted to see which one looked better and just do something with my day and be productive. So we're gonna go back over there and take some photos. So one thing before we move on to the photos that I totally forgot to mention is this place is where I did my reflection photography tutorial, which to date is my most viewed video, and this is where it was all filmed. So it's pretty cool to see that video take off to almost, I think it's like 7,800 views last time I checked. So thank you so much for everybody that's watched and subscribed since then. And yeah, it's been a cool little process of doing this thing called YouTube so far, and I've been having a blast. So we're gonna go back to now going over there to take some photos. All right, so before I go out there, since it is kind of foggy and sprinkling, I'm just gonna set up my camera here where there's a nice little, I guess people call them gazebos or kiosk, whatever you want to call them, and we're gonna set up. I'm gonna use first my 35 and then I'll go to the 85 and try to replicate the same type of photos. I'm not sure if I just want to take the photo in the same place, switch lenses and whatnot, but we'll figure out as we go. So the choice is the A7R III and Sigma 1.4. I'm gonna keep them at 1.8, both of them, since that's the lowest that the 85 goes. So just to kind of keep it a little bit similar, this one goes down to a 1.4. Realistically, you don't always have to shoot that little aperture, but I'm just kind of wanting to show the bokeh for like the up close ones and everything like that. For landscape ones, you really won't be able to tell because it'll focus on whatever, but I just don't feel like changing things too much since it is rather cold, and kind of want to get this on the go and not freeze my butt off. So give it the good old dustiness out. So for the first shot, we're gonna do a lower angled kind of like style, like how I'm standing, or not standing, I guess standing, sitting-ish down, and see how it looks. We'll do first the 35. So the one good thing about this puffy jacket is I can actually put my lenses in here and you can't even really tell when I'm doing it. So yeah. Now to go with the 85. So we're gonna have to scoot back. Well, there we go. That was a comparison of those two kind of little body style portraits. Obviously, the compression from the 85 is kind of, I like it nicer. I mean, the 35 looks really cool because as well, it just adds a little bit more of the kind of field of view. You can see a little bit more, but I like the compression of the 85 so far. But let's move on to a more up close and personal of the good old face. So I think I'm gonna use the fence right here just to kind of do like a little bit of, I guess, a leading line and just do something simple like that. So we're gonna test out how it looks, have it in my mind, so we'll see how it looks. So those were a little bit of the portraits. Now I'm gonna just do one kind of like landscape of me in front of it and have the landscape of that side as much as I can. This is gonna be the harder part because it's obviously compression and how the 85mm and everything with compared to the 35 might be a little bit iffy. But we're just gonna do it just for the sake of kind of covering all bases, and then we'll kind of touch a little bit more on what I like about each style of photo and for the lenses and everything like that. But hopefully this is helping you decide if you want to get a 35 or an 85. Honestly, you can't go wrong with either, but just depends on what you're planning to use it for. Well, it's gonna be like pretty kind of foggy up here, but yeah, I'm just gonna do it from right here and kind of have that as the background and just see how it goes, and you know, just have fun for the last shot and then call it a day with the cold, and then just talk a little bit more about what I like about this lens and the 35. Okay, so I mean, this and this are pretty great combo no matter which one you want to use it with. The 35 and the 85 are just great lenses overall. There are some pros and cons with both of them. As you can see, for me, the compression of the 85 is pretty cool when it comes down to a lot of the portraits. It just looks, to me, more aesthetically pleasing, I guess, because it just looks creamier, if that makes sense. Sometimes with the 35 you have too much negative space, so you just have to make sure that you get up and close and personal kind of with that lens versus the 85. So if you're out in a shoot, sometimes the 85 is nicer because if you don't want to be too close to the model or the person, or they're camera shy, they're not having a camera right in their face, so they just kind of feel a little bit more secure, if that makes sense. But I do love the versatility of the 35. It's a great camera lens basically so that you can take good portraits and also landscapes, and just kind of like overall just a one shot lens kind of style. Like I tend to go more with my 35 if I know I'm only going to bring one lens, because of how much room it gives me to take more landscape, portraits, street photography, and everything like that. The 85 is great for street photography if you want to have a farther away subject, so that's what I recommend with those lenses. I don't know if you noticed it, but obviously there can be some kind of distortion to faces. Sometimes they look a little bit thicker, if you will, with the 85, just because of the compression. So that's something to just be aware of. It's just whatever's aesthetically pleasing. Can't even speak English because of the cold, but aesthetically pleasing for yourself when it comes down to these lenses. So for me, obviously I own both for a reason, because I use them for different scenarios. If you're only going to choose one, just see what checks more of your little kind of list and see which one you would like to have for yourself more. There's a bit of a price difference. I mean, this one I got it used for $350 versus this one, it's like, I believe $600. New, it's $550. Usually, depending if they're having a sale, it could be, I think, $700, give or take. Can't remember at the top of my head right now. It's been a while since I've had this lens. Actually, my first full frame lens that I bought was a 35. So that kind of gives you a little bit of why I choose this lens more. I've even made a video about it, of why your first kind of like prime lens should be 35 versus like any other ones. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure to go check it out on the channel. So yeah, let me know what you think about these lenses. I mean, what do you prefer shooting with, a 35 or 85? Would you choose the 85 over the 35, or the 35 over the 85? It's always kind of curious to know what you would like to shoot with as well. I mean, what do you use each lens for? Let me a comment down below, just to kind of know more about yourselves and kind of get to know you guys as well. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with friends, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.